Hello everyone. Today I have a video specifically for Pride Month. Happy Pride, by the way. And I wanted it to be like a really chill vibe, and so that's why I'm outside and all that stuff on the ground. What I want to do is paint something. It's really windy, but whatever. What I want to do is like paint something while I tell you guys about my journey as a queer woman, and like just I guess I know a lot of people call it like my coming out story, but it's like way more than that. So but yeah, I do want to like share this. I think it's important whenever people share their stories. I'm always very grateful to hear that we all go through similar experiences, and I think it's just very valuable to, you know, make people feel seen in whatever way I'm able to provide that. So yeah, let's get started. I don't know if this palette works because it's really old, and I just got it out of like some drawer, but we'll see. I have all these paint brushes, these two which are huge, so I'm excited to use these, and then this which is like the rolling thing for paint. But I wanted I don't know if you, I'm sure some of you know what I'm talking about. It's like these sponges that like are used for painting, and I wanted those, but we didn't have those, so I just got this instead. And I have these two in case nothing else works. And yeah, I have this cup of water here for the paint brushes and stuff. And I think this is the kind of paint that needs to be activated with water. So yeah. So, I don't know what I'm going to draw. I'm just gonna feel it out as I go and just kind of have fun with it. I have a lot of pieces of paper, so I'm probably gonna use like more than one. But yeah, let us get started. So wow, I don't even know where to begin with this. I guess yeah, okay, so let's go back to elementary school. I have always been a very outgoing, social person, lots of friends and all that stuff. And that's who I was in elementary school. But I remember like looking back now that there were certain like girls that I thought I really wanted to be friends with, but for some reason I couldn't get myself to do it. Even though it's super easy for me to just walk up to people and talk to them and like become friends with them, with these girls that I was like, oh, I want to be friends with them, it was like I was like, I don't know, like I can't do it. And so I used to think, I don't know if I formulated this thought in elementary school specifically, but I remember back then I used to think like I was just intimidated by pretty girls, and so like it would be harder for me to become friends with them. And when I liked boys, I would just, it was super easy. I'd just go up to them and talk to them, become friends with them, and no problem, and like it'd be chill, you know? But I never really thought anything of it in elementary. Like I wasn't, how do I say, like I wasn't raised, like thankfully, very, very grateful for this, I wasn't raised with the idea that being gay is wrong or anything like that. And I didn't even think anything of it. I didn't think I was attracted to these girls. I thought I was just intimidated and unable to become friends with them, even though I could become friends with literally everyone else. So yeah, elementary, didn't think anything of it. Middle school comes around, and I don't know why I did this, but for a long time, I would like pick out the boys in my class that were most sought after. if you will. Like every girl liked them, and just I would like kind of hyper fixate on that and be like, let me get that boy. And it never worked because it really came off as super desperate. There was this one boy who I'm still friends with. I don't know how, but that I think I told him I liked him. I'm not joking. Like, I confessed to him like maybe 6 times, and every time he'd be so nice about it, be like, oh, I don't like you back, and like for some reason that would kind of fuel the fire, and I'd be like, oh, but if I don't know, it's like this thing of like I just wanted them to like me. But there were instances in which guys liked me in middle school, and I thought there was something wrong with me because I was so repulsed by it. Like, and it was nothing to do with the guys that liked me. Not at all. It was this feeling of like, ew. Like, I don't know how to put it into words. It was this feeling of like, why? Like, and the thought of me feeling anything romantic for them or anything like that to me was just like, ugh, like, genuinely so, the only word I can find is repulsive. Like, I found it repulsive. And so, I remember that happening, and again, I wasn't thinking anything of it other than what I just said about, I was like, is there something wrong with me? Because I would see everyone around me like get with guys and all that stuff. My mom's home. I would see everyone around me like or every girl around me, they would like get with guys, and guys would like them and they'd like them back, and it seemed like no problem. And I remember thinking like, yeah, is there something wrong with me? Because I only want, and I knew this in middle school, I only wanted the guys that I knew for a fact did not want me back. And when a guy wanted me, bro, it was the worst. I was actually, thankfully I've worked on this, but I was really rude to any guy if he liked me. I was really rude in hopes that he'd just get the hint and like stop talking to me. But yeah, high school comes around, I'm doing the same thing. I was doing this up until college, where I was like, which guy do I think is like I guess I'd use other girls around me as parameters. Like, I'd hear them talking about, oh my gosh, this guy's so cute, and I'd be like, all right then, let me try and go for that one. I think it's like I wanted the most desired guy to desire me, but I wouldn't actually desire him. It's just, I think I was trying to prove a point, and I don't know where that came from, but I really believe that it was some point I was trying to prove. So that's interesting. High school was mostly the same deal, except it was another guy now that I was like confessing to like over and over again. So embarrassing, but it had to happen, honestly. By the way, what I'm painting right now is just a regular rainbow. A masterpiece, if you will, by all accounts, actually. Okay. So, yeah. That was that. And when was it? I guess this would be middle school. So 8th grade, around 2020, things were brewing. Well, I had this inkling that I liked girls, and I remember vividly, for some reason, being at Costco with my grandpa, and there was this one girl there that we kept seeing, or that I kept seeing. I'm sure my grandpa didn't even notice her, but that I kept seeing, that I was like, wow, she's gorgeous. Like, it's insane. And every time I see her, I just like admire her like looks, and and I know it wasn't like just normal admiring, you know. It was like, wow, like she's like, wow, really beautiful, you know. I was attracted to her, And I remember feeling that, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, is this normal? And I remember asking my mom and sister, I was like, do you guys ever find girls hot? And they were like, no, like, we find them pretty and stuff, but like, hot isn't a word I'd use. And I was like, I just took that and I was like, okay, interesting, good to know. And wait, there's so many shades of green here, I don't know which one to pick. Wait, I'm scared. Also, this rainbow isn't curved enough. Whatever. Anyways, so I took that, and that kind of really ignited the whole me actually considering that I was like actually attracted to girls. And I just was looking back at my life and seeing how, you know, like, it was, the attraction had always been there, but I just thought it was normal. I really thought every girl and woman felt this way, because in my head, and I still think this, I'm not gonna lie, it is an objective truth that women are just, on average, prettier and more attractive than men. And so I genuinely thought every woman thought like this. But, you know, I consulted friends and family and stuff, and they were all like, no, like straight women, obviously, and they were like, no, like, yeah, guys are hot and all that. And I was like, okay. So around, how old would I have been? How old is a person in 8th grade? 8th grade. So if you're 15 in 9th grade, okay, so I think I was maybe 14 when I thought about it for like months on end and came to the conclusion, like, yeah, I am attracted to girls, I'm bisexual. And so then I told my sister, actually I told her like right here, and she was like extremely freaking chill about it. She was just like, okay, so are you gonna tell mama? And I was like, yeah, I want to, but I'm like scared. And here's the interesting part, like, my mom has, our whole life has made it clear that, like, not really by her words, more so by her actions, that she's like super supportive of like gay people, and she's supportive of us as her daughters. Like, nothing would change that. But I was still really scared to tell not just her, the rest of my family. I knew my sister, maybe because we're in the same generation, I knew she'd be extremely chill about it. And so I was really afraid, but I remember I was like sobbing. Like, I was like, Mama, I have to tell you something. And then I started sobbing like uncontrollably before I could even say anything. And she was like, oh my gosh, like, what's wrong? And so then I said, Mama, I like girls, I'm bisexual. And she was like, oh, okay. Like, it was like this reaction of like, why are you crying so much about that? You know, which for me, I really like that. It was like, I don't know, it feels really supportive. And so then I was like, you know, told the rest of my family. I told my grandma, I told my dad, I told my grandpa. My grandpa had by far the best response. I remember I went into his room and he was like fixing something. I don't even know what he was doing, but he was like fixing something. And I was like, Abuelo, like, I have something to tell you. And he's like, yeah, like, what is it? I was like, Abuelo, I like girls. And he was like, me too. And then it was just a laugh and like super chill. I really appreciate that about my family, is that it's been just extremely like, yeah, okay, like, that's fine, like, normal, like, nothing crazy. And so that to me is a great privilege that I've had in my life. By the way, I'm done with the rainbow, so I'm gonna start painting things around it. I want to make it, I wish I made it bigger, but I'm gonna keep going. I really appreciated my family's like acceptance of it all, and obviously my friends were like, yeah, I had my best friend in middle school, I told him and he was like, I knew this. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. Like, I had a lot of people tell me, like, yeah, that makes sense. And so, to me, that also felt nice of, like, I felt seen by a lot of my friends. And then, I don't really know how to explain these next 6 years, because I came out in 2020 as bi. The next 6 years were kind of, like, a lot, I guess. Like, how do I explain this? So, then, for a little bit there, I was like, oh, but I'm pansexual, I, like, don't care, whatever. And I didn't do, like, a formal coming out to everyone, because I don't think that's necessary. I was just like, oh, like, I think I am, like, pan. And so, but then I was like, no, I'm bi. And then I went through a little phase where I was like, actually, I'm straight. And then I was like, no, wait, I'm bi. And then here's what happened. So the reason I think I thought I was straight, okay, so when I started college, I had, for some reason, I think I was developing some sort of, like, internalized homophobia or something, because I would tell people, like, yeah, I'm bi, and then they'd be like, oh, gee, that's so cool, whatever. And, like, I remember I had a friend tell me, like, one of my very close friends to this day, she told me, like, oh, like, I see you ending up with a girl. And I remember being like, that's not gonna happen. And I remember that coming not from a place of truth, but from a place of, like, fear, I think. I felt fear when that was brought up. And so that was interesting. It felt like I had backtracked, but then for a while I decided to completely ignore my attraction for girls for some reason. And I was like, no, I'm straight, actually. I think I'm straight. And there was also this, like, it was just a strange period of time where I was completely repressing that part of myself for a reason that I still don't really understand. I think it was really becoming clear to me what I'm about to say next, and I just didn't want to accept it. So what happened basically is that, how do I explain it? So in college, you're obviously, exposed to new experiences. And one of the new experiences for me was that there were lots of guys, like, flirting with me. And I think that they were guys that one would consider, like, conventionally attractive. And I felt, again, that feeling of repulsion at that, and I just didn't like it at all. Like, that attention has always made me so uncomfortable, and I couldn't handle that kind of attention because it made me so uncomfortable. And so, mind you, for the first perhaps year and a half of college, I was, like, obsessed with this one guy, and it's still a mystery to me, because it's not like high school or middle school where it's like, oh, every girl likes this guy, I'm gonna go for him. Instead, I remember seeing him the first, like, before college even started, we were on some sort of retreat, like, for something, and then I was like, it was so weird. I was like, I'm picking that one. Like, that's the one I'm picking. And that I did. I, like, picked him to, like, obsess over. And it's just, I don't know. That whole thing is still pretty strange to me. And he found out that I liked him, and he, like, was very nice about it. He was like, oh, I don't like you back, but whatever, like, as a friend, whatever. And I remember crying a lot that night. And what I remember feeling in that moment when I was crying was like, it was this feeling of like, why do they never like me back? You know, I was like, is there something wrong with me fundamentally? And it was just a horrible feeling. I think what you could say is like, I was like desperately chasing male validation for years, and I think there was some sort of protection spell put upon me that I wasn't getting it. And it just made me feel really sad, because this was like the culmination of a lot of like me wanting that male validation, even though I don't like male attention. It's so weird. And so my thought process was always, if they get to know me though, then they'll start liking me. And I never thought further of wanting to get them to like me. I know in my heart that if any of these men were to have come to me and said, hey, actually I like you, like let's like go on a date or something, I would have been like, ooh, like that's not what I wanted, you know? And by this point, I had already actually liked a couple girls, and some of them had liked me back, and I knew what that was like, and it was completely different. It was like, I was a little bit more shy with them because I'm actually attracted to them, and it was never this feeling of like, I need you to like me. It was a feeling of like I really enjoy your company, your presence, I love talking to you. Like, it's like I feel fulfilled by this relationship, and I want to see if it can grow further than that. That's what it feels like to me when I like women. But with guys, it was like, I need you to like me, I need you to like me, it was like so crazy. I think after lots of experiences, I just began to I began to question, actually, because this is something I had never questioned before. Do I even like guys? And it was again a months-long thing of me considering that and being like, I don't, like, trying to figure it out, I guess. And when I realized that I did not like men or want to date them, it was a feeling of relief that it felt like I had finally found, like finally things started to make sense to me, and I was like, oh, that's what was like wrong with me, which obviously there was nothing wrong with me, but it felt like that back then. And so it was this feeling of comfort and relief that I can't even explain. It's like everything fell into place, and a lot of things started to make sense. There's this one like funny memory I have that actually I was talking about with one of my friends, and they remember it too. But it was in, I think, 10th grade. It was in like 10th grade that I was in English class, and it was a really cool English class because it was like super open discussion. And so one of the things we were discussing for some reason was like marriage and stuff. And I remember just being like, ooh, I want to give my opinion. So I raised my hand, and I was like, honestly, if I were to marry someone, I wouldn't want to live in the same house as them. I wouldn't want to like merge my life with theirs at all. I wouldn't even want to see them like every day of the week, you know, like all that stuff. And I remember my teacher saying like, you don't want a husband, you want friends with benefits. And I was like, what the, like that really shocked me. And I remember everyone else like in the classroom was like, no, that's weird. And I was pretty unfazed by that, but I did wonder. I was like, why is that weird? And then years later, I was thinking back to that, and I was like, it makes sense, because I was envisioning a marriage with a man, which I don't want. And when I envision a life with a woman that I love, it's completely different. It's like, it like actually feels happy to me. Like, in my head, if I envision a life with a man, it's like I'm tolerating it, but with a woman, it's like I'm actually happy, you know? And like, that really was a big one for me, that I was like, ooh, like, wow, I don't think I ever want to be with a man. And also the whole thing about them flirting with me and me genuinely wanting the ground to swallow me whole, that was another one. And I know, you know, I've had like girls flirt with me, and it's completely different. It's like, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, like, it's like a completely different vibe. And so that really, it, like, when I don't know, I have this like vivid memory of a moment where I was like, I don't like men and I don't have to pretend to like them. I was like, oh my gosh, like, wow, like, such a moment of relief. It was like almost cathartic. It was amazing. And so then, after considering it for months, I was like, all right then. What I identify with most is being a lesbian, so I am a lesbian. And so, hold on, I'm gonna try and paint some white on this paper. I don't think it's gonna work, but anyways, that's what I identify with. And well, that's just made me happy, because it fit like a glove. It felt so like, yeah, that's it. Like, after years of being like, I'm bi, I'm pan, I'm straight, no, I'm bi, like, I refuse to just accept that I'm lesbian. So I wanted to come out to my mom in like a more fun way. So she's the one that paints my nails, and I had her paint my nails in these specific shades of pink, orange, and white, and she had no clue about it. But a couple days later, and I had her do it in a specific order too, and she didn't know, but a couple days later, I was like talking to her, and I was like, my nails mean something. And she was like, she got it pretty quick. She was like, is it a flag? I was like, yeah. She said, a pride flag? I was like, yeah. And she searched it up, and she was like, oh, the lesbian flag. And she thought I was just being an ally or something. She was like, OMG, cool, like, okay. And so I was like, no, like, it's, you know, like, it means something. And she was like, oh my gosh, are you lesbian? I was like, yes, I'm a lesbian. And it was really chill. I didn't come out to anyone else really, other than like some friends, some really close friends of mine. But everyone was really chill about it. I remember one of my friends said, like, I've known the same friend I mentioned earlier about, he knew I was bi, my middle school bestie. He was like, and I knew you were lesbian. He was like, I knew you were lesbian. I was just waiting for you to find out. And I was like, wow, okay, like, that's like a lot of people expected it, you know, which again made me feel pretty seen. Like, wow, the people around me know me better than I know myself. A branch just fell. But I didn't really come out to anyone else because I didn't feel it was necessary to kind of like, it's kind of like announcing every little change within me. It was like, I don't need that, you know? But ever since I have, you know, identified as a lesbian, it has fit like a glove. It's like, I haven't doubted it at all. Like I used to doubt it all the time when I was bi or pan or straight or whatever, you know? Like, it has been a really beautiful thing for me, and I'm so grateful because the people around me are so supportive of this. And there are a couple things I want to say. First off, bisexual people exist. Just because I don't identify with that doesn't mean that they don't exist. That's just my own personal thing. A valid sexuality that is real. I know a lot of people think, that bisexual people are either going through a phase or denying that they're gay or trying to be cool. And while sometimes that might be the case, it's very rare. Most of the time it's it's real, and that's what they are. And when I thought I was bi, yes, I was doubting a lot, but I would go to sleep thinking no, no, that's what I am. I genuinely thought I was bisexual. It's not like I was I'm only saying this so that people don't know I'm lesbian. It wasn't that. It was I really thought so. So it's wrong to assume that, And to me, it almost makes more sense to be bi. You're not hung up on any of the things that we as humans made up, like gender, It's like you see past that, and I think that's so cool. Another thing I want to say is my experience as a queer person has been extremely privileged. I've been able to be so open about this, and I have experienced homophobia, obviously, but, coming from such a loving place that accepts me so much, I feel well equipped to deal with it, and know that that's not the truth. But I know there are lots of people who cannot or don't want to come out to their friends or family or anything, and a lot of the time it is a serious threat, to their safety and to sometimes if they can even have a home, it's really heartbreaking, and I recognize that as a reality. So I know that in my own journey I was able to be open about it, but I think you can still find happiness without being open about it to everyone you know. I think the real key is to find that self-love and self-acceptance, which can be extremely difficult when you don't have that support around you, but it's possible. I feel like reaching that point within yourself means more than anything else, means more than anyone's acceptance could ever mean. If you recognize who you are and you honor that within yourself, that's just magical. You are doing yourself such a great service, So I think it's important to say, not everyone can be open about it, but I do think there's still hope for happiness, And there was a third message I wanted to say. Oh, another thing I want to say is you don't have to be hung up on labels. I know in my journey I was really trying to figure out that label every time. And that's because I think it's something that really helps me. I mean, when I said, when I realized I was a lesbian, it was a sense of comfort that I can't even describe, but you don't have to, and that's very freeing. You don't have to define yourself using labels. That's completely, again, made up, human-made, arbitrary. None of it is real. None of it even matters in the end. What matters is the love you put out into the world, and everything else is secondary. So labels are completely unnecessary. They do really help some people like myself, but if you don't feel identified by any label, that's great. Just be free and be I like who I like, or I don't like who I don't like, or whatever, I think that's a very beautiful thing, and something that people should embrace, especially, you know, if they feel that way. Let me show you my painting. Are you ready for this? Here it is, my baby. I don't think it's great. I'm gonna say though, I think that rainbow looks pretty good, but other than that, nothing else. Maybe this little flower in the corner, nothing else looks that great. But I mean, I did disclose in my last video that I'm not great with this kind of stuff, but it's still really relaxing. Also, I couldn't paint as much as I wanted to because I'm not great at multitasking, so the whole talking while painting thing just didn't do it for me. But yeah, that's been my journey, and I hope you enjoyed listening to it. I hope it has helped someone. I know back then I would just like, you know, search up gay people's coming out stories and watch them and be like, you know, just see where I saw myself in that story, and it always brought me so much comfort. And I hope that this video has helped anybody watching. I hope that it brings you comfort. I hope that you know you're on your own path, your own journey. That's gonna look like, it's not gonna look like mine, but there's always overlaps, you know. And I think that's what's really valuable and beautiful about this stuff, is that we come from completely different walks of life, where you could say we're nothing alike, but in human experiences there will always be something that you can relate to with a stranger, and I think that's beautiful. I know that also there are like hard times. It has felt really it has felt really uncertain, you know, the political climate of things. But I think that as long as we stay loud, as long as we stay letting people know that we're here and we're real and that we deserve rights and that there's nothing that can change the way we are, yep, no paint for you. I think that makes a world of a difference. And as long as we keep finding that community and spreading that joy and love outwards, I feel like, and acceptance, I feel like there's so much value to being gay than just being gay. Like, there's so much more to it than just who you like, because of the like oppression that you know, I want to say our ancestors, like our gay predecessors went through before us, and our gay brothers and sisters and non-binary people still go through to this day. There's just so much community there, and there's this understanding that I don't think can be put into words, you know. It's like, it's so much more than just who you like, and that's something I wish more people understood, because of the way the world views us and treats us. And thankfully it's so much better now, and in my experience it has been amazing, but I know for other people it has been not that amazing. It is more than who you like. It's a community that is defined by acceptance, love, and joy. And I don't know if there's anything more beautiful than that, than just wanting to spread that love and joy, you know? And so, and supporting everyone being their own unique selves. I think it's beautiful. And yeah, for all the like straight people watching, all the allies, hopefully, you know, that's the one thing I guess I would want you to take from this video, is that being gay is more than who you like. It's a very important part of our lives, because a lot of us go through long periods of time in our adolescence or childhood where we're like, what's wrong with me? Like, and there's this feeling of loneliness of, why does everyone else in my life feels this way, and then I'm just like not normal, you know? And then when you come to terms with it, you say it out loud, you find people like you, there's this sense of comfort that you can't get from anything else, you know? So, yeah, I know things are politically tense and sometimes it feels like our rights are being threatened, but we're here and we're queer. So yeah, happy Pride Month. I hope you like my painting. I hope you were inspired to maybe paint something yourself for Pride Month or do something fun like that, have a chill vibe going. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. I hope you got something out of this. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!